Inserting quotations. Let's talk for just a minute or two about inserting quotations. This is very important in a class on research writing. But before we get to actually quoting, let's talk about the other two ways that we could use material from another source. Suppose you want to use someone's ideas, but not their exact words. Of course, that would be fine. You can summarize or paraphrase. And as Ballinger in their Curious Research notes, these are the two useful ways to incorporate research without quoting. Summarizing simply gives the main idea. Here's an example. I've never seen it, but some people love the TV show Breaking Bad. Well, you could summarize it this way. The show revolves around a terminally ill man who decides to sell drugs. Now, no need for quotation marks because I just summarized it. I didn't quote anything. Ballinger uses the example of summarizing the movie Juno. He summarizes it this way. Juno is a film about a smart, single, pregnant teenager who finds unexpected humor in her situation, but finally finds that her wit is not enough to help her navigate the emotional tsunami her pregnancy triggers in the lives of those around her. Okay, so that's how he summarizes that. But what about a paraphrase? Paraphrase is a little bit different. It's rephrasing in your own words. I love the following phrase. The only easy day was yesterday. And I believe it comes from the Navy SEALs. But if I want to paraphrase, I could say something like this. Things will always get more difficult. I know, it doesn't sound as good, but it's simply a paraphrase. But now what if I wanted to use those exact words? Well, I could. Or I might want to cite something else and then quote something else exactly. I might want to use a quotation because these words are perfect for my paper. Whereas Ballinger says I could use them because these words bring in the voice of the expert or the group. Or because it is just a perfect way to say it and I can't really improve upon it. So if this is the case, that I want to use those exact words, then I can quote. Here are some ways to incorporate this quote into a paper. First, I can write this. As the Navy SEALs say, the only easy day was yesterday. Note how I use a comma after says, and I start with a capital T. This is because the quote is a whole sentence, and I let the reader know that I'm quoting by saying, say. The Navy SEALs say. Now I would also need to cite this using the parenthetical after. Now let's talk about a different quote. It's a quote from our book, The Curious Researcher. But I don't want to use the whole sentence, just part of it. And if I want to use that, then I use an ellipsis, which is 3 dots. Here's an example. When using a quotation, students should realize that college papers should contain no more than 10 or 20% quoted material. The 3 dots means something has been eliminated from the original quote. Also note how I don't use a comma because the quote is blended into my sentence. Or I could do it like this. Ballinger, 2014, notes that as a general rule, the college paper should contain no more than 10 to 20% quoted material. Page 113. This time, I use Ballinger's name to start the sentence and I don't blend his sentence into my sentence, so I use a comma. And now I include the year right after his name and then the page number after the quote. So that in a nutshell is how to insert quoted material. I introduce the quote or I blend the quoted material into my own sentence. I hope this helps with our papers when you'll be using some quoted material.